I'm back, everybody. It's Friday yet again. Time for a shop update. Get yourself nice and comfy, cozy. Get yourself seated someplace you want to be. Get yourself a snack, cool beverage, hot beverage, some kind of snack. I don't know, but let's get ready to talk about some cars, shall we? Let's get into it. It's been a good week. It's been a fun week. It's been a busy week. Lots has been progressed on a few cars here, and there's been some shuffling around of things. But first, before I get too much further, Christian was actually out Thursday and Friday this week. He is off on an adventure. The wife, and the kids are all off doing a great race regional event out of Auburn, Indiana. So I will wish them and Team Schneider, who is doing it along with them, I will wish Team Sora and Team Schneider the best of luck. Have fun, guys, and enjoy yourselves. It should be a great time. So they're out there doing it in a Volvo sedan. So they're representing the great nation of Sweden, representing IKEA build qualities, and hopefully they do pretty well. Although looking at some of the messages that I'm seeing go back and forth with the Great Race Group, sounds like they've had some incidents with the train and some turns that they may have missed. So maybe they're just having fun. That's what we're going to say. They're out there having fun. Anyway, I wish them the best of luck, along with Team Schneider, the best of luck as well. On to some cars here. You will notice that there's no Defender on this part of the shop anymore because we painted the Triumph. Look at that. It's ready to go. It's super nice. It's not even remotely the color that we thought the owner wanted. It's very much a green color. I thought he wanted to go cream. But we shot it this week. That's why I said we were busy. Shot it this week, knocked it out, put most of it together as well. Couple of late nights in there. And she is just looking a right treat. There's a few things left to do on her. I still got to pull some of the masking tape off here, you know. Attention to detail. Now, if you believe that this is the project from the past videos, I got a bridge to sell you as well. It is not. This is a different Triumph TR3. Came in. A buddy of ours kind of runs like an out of his home kind of business. That sounds terrible. It's not. He's a really stellar guy. Super good mechanic, super good body guy, super good at restorations. And he is banging his head against the wall with this Triumph build. Lots of issues that he keeps running into with it. Now, to start, the cooling system was, I think, non-existent when he got it, as in the radiator was just rotted away and a lot of the parts were missing. Tons and tons of sediment in the engine. He pulled the engine apart in the car. He didn't pull the engine out of the car. Pulled the engine apart in the car, cleaned all the sediment out that he possibly could, had the head boiled, did the head, got a radiator for it, put a new water pump, new hoses, new this, new that. She should be in tip-top shape now, okay? Now, before he did any of that, he actually got the car running, and he said it ran pretty good, okay? Been sitting a long time, but it ran pretty good. He's put a lot of new fuel system stuff on here. It even has, against my better judgment, it has a Pertronix ignition setup in it. I'm not a big fan, okay? I'm not saying that they're garbage. I'm just saying, like, I'll get you home on a set of points. When a Pertronix goes out, you better hope to God you put a set of points in the trunk, because I can't get you home on broken Pertronix. I can get you home on a broken set of points. That being said, it has a Pertronix in it. Now, he went to restart it after he got it all put back together, and no boomy boomy. Now, to make an engine go boomy boomy, you need 4 things. Now, I know you've probably heard on the interwebs out there that you need 3 things to make an engine run. And you do need those 3 things to make an engine run. But I would debate that you need at least 4 things to make an engine run. And maybe after this, I may add a 5th to that list. Okay? But you definitely need those first 3. And if you don't know what they are, let's run through them real quick. What do you need to make an engine run? You need air. You need fuel. and you need spark, right? Now, the fourth one that I tack on there, and everyone seems to forget about it because I have never had an engine that lacked this ever run. I've never had an engine that lacked this one last component ever actually run, and that is compression. You don't have compression. Now, some people lump compression in with air, but I consider air to be the stuff that's coming from the outside and going into the inside. You need the air. Okay? Meaning as in, check to make sure you can get air into the engine. Compression is important too. Fuel is great. Spark is great. So, I know I've got air because the carburetors have no filters on. There's no filters on those bad boys. I know I've got air. There's air pumping. It's around me. We live on a planet that has an atmosphere of breathable air that works really, really well with flammable items to make them more combustible. It's fantastic stuff. Go look it up and read a science book about it. Wonderful. So, we've got air. Compression, well, I know the guy who worked on this car, he's definitely checked compression a bunch of times because he jumped to that conclusion too. Maybe I don't have compression. Maybe I didn't do the head gasket right and I don't have compression. So he checked that a bunch of times. Really good compression across all 4 cylinders. That's good to hear. Spark, that Pertronics. Ooh, that villainous Pertronics. Strikes again, right? That's what it is. No. We have good spark as well. Spark is there. It's got to be fuel, right? Well, the fuel system is all basically brand new. And to circumvent whether or not it would run on the gas that's in the car, he sprayed ether, or starting fluid, down the carburetor throats to see if it would go pop bang. And we got nothing. No pop bang. So, we have air, we have fuel, we have spark, we have compression, but we have no pop bang. What could it be? What could it be? Those of you who are keen on your Triumph TR3s and TR4s will probably have noticed from looking at this engine, maybe not. Go back, pause, take a peek. Tell me if you see something a little bit off. Now, there's probably a dozen things wrong in this engine bay, but tell me if you see something that's off, and I'm kind of tickling at it there, that isn't quite right. Let's get a little closer. I'll turn the camera around and everything and see if we can see what's up. In fact, I can see it clearly. Yep, maybe you can see it. Maybe you can see it there, the problem. You'll notice I'm pointing at kind of the problem. There's a stud right there that my finger's pointing at. That stud is supposed to go in this hole right back here. This hole is on the exhaust manifold. The stud is on the intake manifold. What happens when those two things don't line up is your carburetors are like this. If your carburetors are like that, it means that manifold's not sitting flat. And then when you feel around underneath, get in the tickle zone, that's exactly what you find. There is about a 1/2 inch gap between the bottom of the intake manifold and the cylinder head. That is why she won't run. That's what we call a vacuum leak. That's too much air, which is something that nobody ever really talks about, is that we always talk about it needs these 3 or 4 things to run, right? And that's great. Sorry. There was a phone call, random phone call. It needs those things to run and operate, right? And that's great. Those 4 things need to be there. But, it can also be bad if you have too much of one of those 4 things. Too much fuel, an engine won't run. I've never really heard of too much spark, but maybe it's a thing. You're sparking in all the cylinders. I don't know. At the same time. Could be a thing. Too much compression, that's definitely a real thing. And then, yeah, too much air. That's what that one has a problem with. It's got too much air. Big old vacuum leak. So, that one will probably get finished up next week, and it'll be gone before I shoot the next video. Hopefully, there's a couple more things I got to take care of on. I'm going to pull the carburetors off and kind of go through them a little bit for the guy. They're a little crunchy sounding. We got a jet on the back carburetor that's not centered, so the piston's not dropping. The throttle shafts feel a little crunchy, like somebody just media blasted the whole thing as one big assembly, which would be a terrible way of doing that. And then he wants me to check the overdrive. That's right. This is a TR3 with an overdrive in it. It's not crazy. They optioned overdrives in these. But it is also not all that common. It's really not all that common. I've owned a bunch of TR3s, and none of them have had overdrives in them. And I'm sure there's somebody out there who's owned a bunch of TR3s, and all of them have had overdrives in them. Just the way the world works. Now, on to the next thing. Displacing the vehicle that was there. The Defender 90 project. She's a roller and a shaker all on her own now. Wheels are mounted up, nice and permanent like. We got good brakes all the way around. She runs, she starts, she does things that a Land Rover should. So let's get cracking into it. This week we bled out the brakes the final time. Couple of little leaks here and there that we had to kind of address real quick, but not too big of a deal. They bled out pretty fast, and they feel fantastic. Wheels are mounted up, as you can see. She's rolling, she runs, she drives, she does those things very, very well. Spare tires on the back door. Back door is, well, it's assembled. It's in there. The only thing that's missing on this back door is third brake light, window, and the grab bar. All of that stuff comes in due time. You got to put the window in first, then you get a third brake light on, then you get a grab bar. We put sound deadening underneath this, not the interior panel, but on the door panel. We put sound deadening. Christian also did sound deadening on the floor. She's cleaned up the floors. They look really, really good. What else did we do in this? Oh, it's got a dashboard back in it. I put the dashboard back in it this week. Cleaned everything really thoroughly, went through, checked everything. One of the things that I did find, and I'm going to check behind the gauge cluster real quick since I was in there. Let's double check, make sure it's not something I did. She's not charging. Charging system is not charging. We have no tachometer, and we have a charging light on. The battery light is on. So those are two telltale signs that the alternator has failed to do its job, since the tachometer signal comes off of the alternator on these trucks. I know that's a little wonky and a little weird, but it's not totally crazy. It's just, there's certainly negatives to that. I would rather have your tach signal come off of, I don't know, the crank position sensor. That would make sense to me, but it doesn't. It comes off the alternator. So, I've got those few things to do. There's a few other things left to do on it for sure. We've got some wiring up front we got to do. I haven't wired the winch just yet. Still haven't tackled that. I really do dig these wheels, by the way. So for those of you at home who are looking at this, you're probably thinking those are just Land Rover steel wheels. They are not. They came out, I think, about maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago. It's a new style steel wheel that's available that actually has a much, much deeper dish to it. The offset's drastically different than the regular steel wheels that you find, which means when you make a turn, the 33-inch tall tires that are on this do not rub the radius arms. I haven't adjusted anything to make that happen. They just don't rub. And also, one of the things that if you have a Mantech rear door tire carrier, you will find that you have to put spacers on these when they have steel wheels or even the aluminum wheels to keep them away from the Mantech tire carrier, because you'll actually bottom out against the tire carrier. With this wheel, you don't. You don't have to run a spacer on this wheel. We may put a washer back there, 3 washers on it, but you don't even need to do that. Just doesn't need it. It clears beautifully. So, we still got a few more things to do on this, but it is moving right along. I've got no update for you on the Defender 110 project. If you want to know why we're not really moving along too fast with this one just yet, go back to the last video. The last video I talk about why we're not moving along with it. While you're there, like and subscribe that one. And also, like and subscribe to the channel right now. Just like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notification icon, get yourself in the groove of watching me ramble for a good 15 to 20 minutes every Friday. I know you all enjoy it. Let's get on to the next one. That's right, there's one more to talk about, and it is the beauty queen herself, the Lagonda LG6 project. She's just not looking all that beautiful right now. We'll get there, okay? We'll get there. She's doing fine. I, on Thursday and Friday, have gone through all of the parts that pertain to that LG6 build. Going through, organizing, figuring out what I have, what I don't have, what needs to be fixed, what is already fixed, and figuring out the game plan of where we need to move on from this. We've got a whole bunch of stuff. This is we got here. We got suspension and drivetrain stuff. In this one, we have external, exterior bits and pieces, stuff that holds body work and things of that nature. Over here, we've got interior parts in the back bench here, and then this one is all electrical work stuff. We've got a lot of electrical work to do on this car. This is all engine stuff. So engine, carburation, and cooling system stuff are all on this bench right now. Going through, sorting it out, figuring out all those good things that we need to figure out to get the ball rolling on this. There's a bunch of things that we're probably going to end up that we normally do in-house. We're probably going to end up sending them out to have them done. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. One of those is probably going to be carburetors here. These are brass carburetors. I really like these. I've always loved building these style carbs. These are H-series carbs. They are brass. They are black enameled originally from the factory. They are going to have probably get a rebuild done on them. We'll probably send those out to somebody like Joe Curto, have them knock them out for us so that I can save the 1 to 2 days that it takes to do a set of carburetors and put that more towards getting the stuff that you can't send out done. You know, wiring the car up and finishing up the firewall build and getting the floors fitted and getting all of this stuff done. Some of the other stuff that's going to probably be sent out, we've got a few things for paint correction. We're going to send those out to the company that painted this car, because we did not paint this car. We'll send that out to the company that painted this car. I'm sure that they'll be happy to do it. That's kind of one of those, like, if they have the time, we'll do it. If they don't, cosmetically, I'm not overly concerned about the cosmetics on the car per se. I want to make sure it looks good, but if there's a little scratch on the inner front fender here, it's not the end of the world. What we want is we want the car to run, drive, stop, and do everything it is supposed to do mechanically so that it can be on the Colorado Grand and not give any hiccups to the owner. No performance problems, no issues, no maintenance stuff that has to be taken care of. So some things that are already out being done that we don't do in-house or that we decided to ship out. The magnetos were shipped out a while back. They should be close to being done. We sent those out to Pat Mason at Mason Racing Ignitions. He is kind of the guru of magnetos here in the United States. He's the go-to for it. He knows his stuff. He bailed us out when we took this car on the Great Race a couple years back. We actually ended up needing to use one of his replacement magneto setups that he sent to us. This car has 2 magnetos fitted to it. You can choose between either running one or the other or running both. Normally we ran both, but in this instance, we will have a third magneto as a backup for it. We'll also have an extra starter as a backup. We'll also have an extra generator as a backup. We've got a lot of extra parts. We have an extra water pump as a backup. All of that stuff we have set up for backups with the new parts going on the build now and the old parts being used as a backup piece because the owner's plan has always been to take this on big, long endurance events. And so you want to make sure that you've got everything at your disposal if you need to fix something, especially when you're dealing with something like this where there's absolutely no way you're going to find the part on a shelf at a local shop or a parts house on your journeys. It's just not a thing that's going to happen. So always carry spares of stuff that commonly goes out. So that's where we're at with this. We're doing our thing, and we're having a great time with it. That's it this week, though. Again, I wish the Team Sora and Team Schneider good luck. I hope you guys get some aces. I hope you guys just win it. Just win it outright. Just outright win it. You got this. It's fine. Just tie for first. I want both teams to just tie for first. Okay? That's how this should end. Above all, have fun. So I will see the rest of you all next week. If you're not already, like and subscribe to the channel. Please. Thank you. And I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week.